This is Out of the Box with your host, Jonathan Clark. Out of the Box, Sunday nights at 9 on Q1043.
Welcome back. Charlie Starr from Blackberry Smoke is with us. They have a new EP, which is excellent. It's live from Capricorn Studios, and part of the proceeds benefit the Music Cares COVID-19 Relief Fund. Charlie, I'm looking at you on Zoom. You have the COVID-19 quarantine beard happening. You got the glasses on. For those of us listening on the radio. But first question, the most important one is, how are you? How's your family? And how are the rest of the guys in the band? Is everybody healthy, I hope?
Yes, everyone is healthy. We're all going stir crazy, of course. It's in 20 years, this is the most I've ever been in one place for any extended period of time. You know, I was just thinking the other day, I miss those guys. I never thought I'd say that, but I miss them terribly.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was actually my next question. I mean, so has it been 3 months? Has it been longer, shorter, that you've just been sort of chilling?
It's been a little shorter. Actually, for 10 days, we got together in a great big studio and made a new record. So, but we didn't hug. We didn't high five. We, stayed away from each other, and but it was fantastic to play music together and create.
Absolutely. The touring and everything is postponed until 2021, I'm sure. Are you going to try and do some shows sometime between now and the end of the year, or no?
We're holding out hope. I mean, unfortunately we can't just like literally say, all right, we're not doing anything as far as it being our choice. Because we all, like everyone, we have families to feed and bills to pay. So we're holding out hope that, whether it's the world opening up and all of this going in a more positive direction, or, what, it all remains to be seen. But every day I hope for the best, hoping we can play a show.
The new EP is so good, and the videos that accompany the songs on the EP are really good. And for any fan of Southern rock, the history of Southern rock, the Allman Brothers, Marshall Tucker Band, Dixie Dregs, Leavell, Capricorn Studios, that was both a studio and a record label. So how did this whole process come about that you guys did this?
Well, we were looking for a way to promote what would have been the summer tour, which was going to be called the Spirit of the South Tour, with us and the Allman Bass Band and Wild Feathers and JMO. And
great lineup.
The idea for that tour was that it would be like a traveling festival. We would all play a set of our own, and then the final set of the night would be a huge jam where we would play our favorite, quote unquote Southern rock and roll songs. And it would be different every night. And it was a really good idea. It is a really good idea. And hopefully we can pull some of it off, at some point, whether it's this year or next year. But at any rate, to go back to your question, we were looking for the best way to promote it. And as you know, video is so powerful. So we thought, well, let's capture some video. At the time we were thinking of this, some friends of ours down in Macon said, hey, what you should do is come down to Capricorn Recording Studios because they're reopened. And you should come make a record, is what they said. And we said, well, we're already scheduled to make a record elsewhere, but we'll come down and spend a day. And then it all just dawned on us, like, here's what we should do. Let's record a bunch of Capricorn music, and that will help promote the tour. So we did it. It was one afternoon. We invited Jimmy Hall to come down from Wet Willie and sing a couple. Marcus Henderson from Marshall Tucker Band to come and play flute. And our friends, the Black Betties from Atlanta, Cherie and Sharita Murphy, to come and sing. And then it was just left to me to pick what songs, and that was easy,
or hard, easy. Or
Not
hard.
Easy, but, what I mean is you can't go wrong with any of it, and Midnight Rider, I probably wouldn't have chosen Midnight Rider initially because, it's obviously been done so much. But then I read a story about the fact that the first demo of that song was recorded in that room, that Kim Payne and Greg Allman broke in and wanted to put it to tape so they wouldn't forget it. So that's the reason why we did Midnight Rider.
How punk rock of them. I love it, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And so this was recorded pre-pandemic, I'm thinking, right? I mean,
yeah, it was in February.
And recorded entirely on solar energy.
Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah.
Which is fantastic. Now, go ahead.
We're so green over here.
What is really cool, Charlie, is, and I'm extremely jealous of this, I looked at the videos. There you are playing this gold top Les Paul. That was Duane Allman's guitar. How did that? Now, does Devin Allman own that? Who owns that now?
No, it's a guy named Steve that owns it right now, but he loans it to the Big House Museum in Macon. And the curator there, named Richard Brent, he's a great friend, and he got permission from the owner of the guitar to bring it down and let me play it. And he's done that for me several times now, and it's unbelievable. That's the first. Not only do you hear that guitar on the first two Allman Brothers records, but it's the very first guitar you hear on Layla, because that's the guitar he played on the Layla record.
That's like holding $1 million, man. Like, no pressure. Don't drop it, dude.
Yeah. I every time it's been handed to me, I want to sit right down.
Well, let's not forget that Greg Allman sang with you guys "Free on the Wing" on Like an Arrow album. I've asked this a lot of bands and artists. I've walked into famous studios. I walked into Electric Lady. I've walked into the Power Station, the Hit Factory, Sun Studios, etc. As a fan, as just a spectator. I mean, I play guitar, but I haven't done a lot of recording. But it's really cool, and it's like you're walking into like Mount Rushmore or something, because you just sort of, you've listened to all these records, you've read the liner notes over the years, you've seen the Capricorn label on all your favorite albums. But as an artist going into record into a studio like that, is the experience any different? Does something happen to you when you're recording in a studio like that?
I don't know if it's just a romantic idea, or if it's once you start working, you're just working, but I couldn't help that day to feel the vibe, in that room. It's newly reopened. So I think that maybe that day we might've been the first band in 40 years to have gone in there to work. I think they had some events there and there was a little work done, but I think we were the first full band that came in. But
yeah, that's what I heard. The first active current rock band to record something in Studio A, proper recording, in like 40 years.
Yeah. And it all happened very quickly. We had a couple of great engineers, a guy named Jake Burns and a guy named Tom Tapley, who came in, and with it, just like anything you're working with, technology or machines, they had to work the bugs out to make sure everything was hunky dory, and they did it in a timely fashion, and we got it all done in a day. Before we started that morning, or early in the day, maybe 11 or nobody makes rock and roll before noon. Chuck Leavell, former member of the Allman Brothers, member of the Rolling Stones touring party, and he called and said, "Hey, I heard you guys are playing some music at Capricorn today." I said, "Yeah." He said, "You mind if I stop by?" And I said, "Of course we don't mind, Chuck."
Doors open, dude.
He came by. He had come into town to run an errand or something. He lives on a great big farm, and as he walked in the studio and started talking and asking us what we were going to record, I couldn't help but look at him and then look around and think, well, your DNA is everywhere in this room, And I said that to him. I was like, I think part of your soul is holding these walls up, and he laughed. And I said, "Hey, stay and play with us." And he said, "Oh, no, you don't want me to F this up." But he wished us good luck. And I don't know if you've ever met Chuck, but he's one of the sweetest people in the world.
He is. I interviewed him when the Stones were around last summer for his latest album. And he's a tree farmer too.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's what he was in town for, was dealing with some tree problems.
The production on the EP is really fantastic. Now that room you were talking about before, did you record in Studio A, the original sort of room?
Yeah. Hmm.
And is it digital or is it analog or is it both?
Both, both. These days, there's a way of working where you can incorporate both, which is really cool. Some people would be surprised to see. I've had engineers over the past 5 or 10 years. People get really, really fixated on tape sound, and there are some things that technology has caught up. And I've heard engineers A/B things and say, "This is tape, this is digital," and my mind has been completely blown. And I would say, "Well, you made digital sound better, actually." Just as warm and large, but now I'm getting nerdy with it now.
That's okay. I'm a nerd too. But do they have the original sort of tape recorders in that studio, or had they been sold a long time ago?
I don't know if they're original, but there are some tape machines there, a couple. I don't know. We didn't, it was so quickly that we were done that day. And of course we were busy. I didn't have the opportunity to ask what was original and what wasn't. But there's a story that it's not the original console. I think that got parted out years ago, or maybe there's a couple of channel strips. I'm not sure, but I heard a story that originally that Neve console that was there was a little area carved out for a mirror to go right in there.
What was that for?
They wanted to check their hairdo, in the middle of a
right, exactly. On the EP, there are 2 Allman Brothers songs, a Marshall Tucker song, a Little Richard song, Wet Willie songs. Now, the Allman tracks are Midnight Rider, which I've been playing on this show, your version of it, and also Revival. And these are just like note for note perfect. Revival, when I was watching for the video for that song, and I wonder if you had the same sort of thing, when you and I first heard that song on the record, it had those changing parts and the dueling guitar things at the beginning and everything, and then the song completely takes a left turn and go into a different direction. Did you find when you were rehearsing that with the band and getting it just right, a new appreciation for the technicality of, say, Duane and Dickie?
No, I already knew. We had actually played that song a couple of times in the past, not much, because it's tough, and that's a Dickie Betts song. He's the composer, and just like In Memory of Elizabeth Reed or Blue Sky or Ramblin' Man, Dickie, he knew what he was doing. Those parts are very technical, but they're soulful as well. That was. I think Dickie may be not with Allman Brothers fans, with true blue Allman Brothers fans, they know, but I think with a layperson, they might not really appreciate Dickie's contribution to that band. It was huge. Such an incredible songwriter and guitar player and composer, but that we didn't, to your point, we didn't get a chance to rehearse all that much. And we just it was like, all right, here's the songs we're doing, do your homework, and also on those Allman Brothers songs, we didn't necessarily take liberties. You know what I mean? It's like that music is pretty sacred to us. And so we would never really dream of going in and going, all right, guys, I got an idea. We're going to play it completely different than the way that it goes,
I'm so glad you say that, because you're absolutely right about those songs. And Dickie, as a songwriter, arranger, producer, that song has elements of jazz, it has elements of rock, and it has gospel in it too.
Yeah, it's the whole package, and it might be a little bit of an underappreciated Brothers song too. I don't know, but maybe I'm wrong, but also on the same note, the same token, we don't adhere to that policy when we play music. I mean, music, it breathes and it's alive. So with the Little Richard song, that one was a little trickier because the recorded version of that song, there's no drums. It's really an organic kind of recording, kind of a strange recording for Little Richard at the time. It's got pedal steel. It's like an Americana song with Little Richard singing, and Little Richard wrote it. And it doesn't have many lyrics. It's basically got a chorus that repeats over and over again. So, but I love it so much, and I thought, let's record this Little Richard song. This was before he passed. I just loved the song so much, and it was so strange. So we had to then sort of like build it from the ground up. Like, how are we going to do it? And Britt, our drummer, I said, "Are we gonna have drums in it?" And he was like, "I vote we have drums in it." And then later, and so we basically played it like a rock and roll song, you know, like if we all of a sudden asked the Stones to play it, maybe, I don't know. But later he said, "I'm glad I shoehorned my drums into that recording."
It's a really good version of that song, and you're right, because I went back to listen to the Little Richard version. I think it was 1971 or 72 or something like that. And you're right that, you know, here we are with Little Richard in the early 70s with like double tracked vocal parts and you know, things like that. It's just completely opposite of, you know, mid to late 50s and early 60s Little Richard. I'm actually going to pick that song to play it in just a minute. Macon, Georgia is what, like, it's like an hour from Atlanta or something like that?
Yeah, a little over an hour. I think 80 miles, maybe.
So we're talking to Charlie Starr of Blackberry Smoke, and the new EP is live from Capricorn Studios, and part of the proceeds benefit the Music Cares COVID-19 Relief Fund. Capricorn Studios is a museum and an active recording studio now. I know over the years, Capricorn Records and the studio had gone through financial hardships, even bankruptcy at one point. In the actual studio, you guys are like, as we mentioned before, the first band in 40 years to actively record something in there. And speaking of Macon, you were talking about Little Richard, Southern Child, such a great song. And we're going to play it right now. So Charlie, I'm glad you're healthy. I'm glad the guys are healthy. Your family's doing good. I cannot wait for the day when you guys are back in New York City. And I don't care where it is. It could be, you know, a dinner theater or something, but whatever. I just want to see you guys back on stage. I want this all to be over. And you mentioned the new record, so that's going to come out at some point, maybe this year, 2021. What do you think?
Probably 2021. I mean, we'll have to be able to tour. So, and it's not quite done yet because everything is slowed down. So nobody can get in a hurry for anything. So it was a good time to get the lion's share of the work done, though, while no one is doing anything.
Charlie Starr, Blackberry Smoke, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, guys. I hope you're all doing well there, too, and try not to go stir crazy.
Talk to you soon, man. Thank you.
Take care.
This is Out of the Box with your host, Jonathan Clark. Out of the Box, Sunday nights at 9 on Q1043.